What's up, guys? So I wanted to give a little rundown of what the T1 roster is, why it's such big news, because I mentioned it to my friends today, and they were like, oh, why is this like such big news? Can you explain it to me? So I wanted to do that for people that aren't in the know. But then also, for people that are in the know, we're going to talk about the rumors and stuff. So let's start with this roster here. Tournament results, and I'll show you guys pretty simply why this roster is the best. Oh wow, they changed the Genji name. So if you look at this E here, the team was known as Samsung White when they won their first title, Samsung Galaxy when they won their second. If you look at the world's winners, DRX won once, EDG, FPX, J-Team. I didn't know that J-Team had ever won, to be honest. Of course. Taipei Assassins won. Invictus Gaming, D plus Kia, but they won as the Damwon Gaming, right. Fnatic won the first one. Genji's won two, but under Samsung White and Samsung Galaxy, different names. T1, SK Telecom has won a few, but I mean, you'll see. They're way clear. Way clear. And you'll also see here, the only roster that has won back-to-back was SK Telecom T1. Right. Now, Samsung White did win. And Samsung White rebranded to Samsung Galaxy and came second and then won, which was a very good roster here, this Samsung Galaxy roster. They came second in a 5-gamer, and then they 3-0'd SKT the next year. Fantastic roster if you can do something like that. SK Telecom, they won back-to-back. Fantastic roster. T1's roster, which was started in 2022, came second in a 5-game series in their first year together for Worlds. Then they 3-0'd, and then they had a closer 5-game series, but they were in the finals 3 years in a row. They won 2 years in a row. And as I will point out again, that's like just the Zeus owner Guma Faker carrier roster is equal to Genji. Just this iteration of Genji of T1 with Zeus owner Faker Guma carrier, just this roster has won as many Worlds titles and had runner-up placements in as many World titles as Genji. That is to say, they are a huge chunk of this T1 legacy, and it's all in the last 3 years. You can see SK Telecom was big. They won in 2013, 2015, 2016, but then they were on the way out in 2017, and as you'll see, no placements here for a couple of years until their rebranding and their new roster. You'll even see down here, they're just not doing well. 7th, 8th, 5th, 4th. That's not what T1's known for. But then when their new roster comes together, they win spring going 18-0. They win the spring playoffs. They're basically the best team of the whole year. They come second at MSI to RNG. Then they come second to Genji. Then they come second to DRX. But they're always second. They're always there within just a few games. Genji, great fucking roster. Then they come back in spring. They go 17-1 again. Not quite an 18-0, but a very good performance. Of course, you'll notice Poby jumps in here because Faker injured his arm. So they had a rough summer in 2023, but they still made it to the playoffs, came second, and they still won Worlds. Doesn't matter. This bit of a dip. But I just wanted to point out this dip. They would have been second tier. Honestly, they should have done better at MSI as well, but Faker had a massive injury. So they really struggled here. But then again, you come here, second, third at MSI, won the Esports World Cup, 4th, that's the worst placement they've had. But then they still come third, still come second, and then they still win Worlds again. And if you just look at Worlds, I mean, you can see the difference between when they didn't have Zeus. Because this roster, owner, Faker, Guma, Carrier, Kana, they existed. This roster existed. And at MSI, they were top 8. At Worlds, they were top 4. But then you add Zeus into the mix, suddenly they're second. They're first, and he was the world's MVP for Worlds 2023. Obviously, Faker was this year's MVP. Oh, we don't have it here, but he was. I mean, you guys know he was. I know that he was. I watched this, and he was the MVP of this year. Regardless, man. Like, I think that just goes to show how dominant this roster is. You know, they're like at the top of the competition consistently. Now, I also wanted to point out that in here somewhere, I can't find it because it's all in Korean, Carrier starts crying and talking about how he's pretty sure that he's not going to play with this roster next year. Now, obviously, he was the first player to re-sign to the T1 roster. And Guma interrupts him and says something along the lines of, you know, we shouldn't talk about this. We should let the agents handle it. My opinion, it's pretty obvious from the get-go that Zeus isn't re-signing. And I think that's totally fair enough. If we can look at the T1 roster here, we can see that all the way down here, obviously Faker's been on the team forever. But all the way down here, we've got Guma joining. Right, and all the way down here, we've got Owner joining. And I'm just going to show you guys what these guys have done before. Because there's a big difference between these players, right? So for Gumayushi, he's been a substitute or a trainee for T1 until he signed. That's all he did. That is literally all he ever did. He just played for T1. For Owner, he came from the academy team up through the rookie team to T1. And he was a substitute for a bit as well. As you can see, Guma, Owner, these players were a key part of the team. Now, Carrier was not, but we know that Carrier is a very emotional kid that gets really attached, and he is very attached to this T1 roster, which he has been with for 4 years now. Right? Now, Zeus, I mean, as you can see, he came through a similar system, but alternatively, he's only 20. He's the youngest player on this roster, even younger than Carrier. Not only is he the youngest player on this roster, but inarguably he has peaked. He was the finals MVP of Worlds 2023. Now, Faker was the finals MVP this year, and Zeus in spring, summer, and Worlds was just generally across the board weaker. So when you are at 20, and 19 was your best ever year, you got MVP, you were the carry, everybody loved you, and you're still on T1 for another year, and you perform worse this year, you know, what do you do from that? Like, his entire history is playing for T1. And his entire history is playing with Owner as well. And, I mean, you'll see, he doesn't have that much history of playing before he actually got brought up as a tester. Don't know why. I didn't watch LCK in 2021, to be honest. Well, I don't remember watching it that much. But yeah, look, he's just on this roster, and they did really well. They went undefeated. They won LCK. The only thing that he hasn't done is win MSI, but they won the Asia Games. He won Worlds 2023. He won the Esports World Cup this year. What else is there? He could re-sign to T1 to win MSI. Is he going to win MSI? It's doubtful. I mean, you look at their MSI performance here, they're third. MSI performance down here, they're third again. MSI performance down here, they're second. LCK Spring, they're first and first. Then you go a year later, they're first and second. And you go another year later, they're second and second. They're just getting worse and worse. If you look at their summer, the summer when Faker wasn't injured, they're fourth and third, and they had to go through the regional finals. They were literally one game away from not making it. So you say to yourself, you know, I'm 20. I'm the finals MVP. I'm the guy that's carrying this team in a lot of games. You know, I'm the young upstart here. What do I want to do now that I'm a 20-year-old? What do I want to do next year? I've won a gold medal at the Asia Games. I've won the Esports World Cup. I've won Worlds twice. I've been the finals MVP of Worlds once. I've won LCK, domestic region, and playoffs. What else is there for him? A new challenge. That's why I think he's moved on. And I don't think these theories are accurate. I just think it's like weird to just like think that there's some weird conspiracy. Like, look, guys, the situation is that this agent, this is not the agent that Zeus has. It's not some Benny Gesserit motherfucker behind the scenes pulling the strings. His agent is just a guy in Korea that's getting paid, and Zeus is just a kid that wants to play for a different team. And if he truly is signing to Hanwha Life or Genji, whichever team he signs to, I think is going to be better for him. This is the finals MVP, the 20-year-old rookie that could be a future dynasty builder. And he can now sign to Hanwha, and he could build a 4-year dynasty at Hanwha. The rumor on the street is that he wanted a 4-year contract at T1. And T1 was able to bring the salary up to what he wanted, but they were not able to bring the years up to what he wanted. They were offering a 1-year, a 3-year, a 1+1. Word on the street is that he wanted a 4-year, or at minimum a 2-year, not a 1+1. I'm not too sure what the situation is there. But I think he's saying, Guma's signing for a year, Faker's signed for a year. I don't want to sign for a year. If I'm staying with T1, I want to be here for 4 years. I want to be here until I'm 25, and I can basically retire, which is fair enough. He's played on T1 his whole life. He's 20, turning 21 next year. What does he want to do? He wants to sign a contract for the rest of his life. I mean, how many players win worlds back-to-back? Literally only a handful, and they're all on T1. Can he ever do it again? Probably not. Can he ever win worlds again? Probably not. We'll have to see. The point being, I think we should support the players in everything that they're doing. And I think Zeus, with any other top 5 roster in the LCK, is just a fucking dominant team. And I'm honestly shocked that Faker performed as well as he did at the end of last year, at the end of this year, to win worlds. I think without Faker peaking again, the team wasn't going to make it. I mean, Kerry Aguma, Owner Zeus were just not looking good towards the end of the year. I mean, as you've seen by the results that I just showed you guys, they were, tracking down. They were not doing well. They lost to Hanwha. They went 11-7 in the round robin, and there's, no reason for this. Look at some of the teams that they lost to. They dropped a game to KDF. They got 2-0 by KT, that's fair, but then they dropped a game to Bro. They're getting 2-0 by... They're dropping 2 games to Fox. They're dropping 2-0 to Nongshim. It just doesn't make sense, to be honest. Nongshim. Guys. Look at this Nongshim roster. Look at this Nongshim roster, guys. Dun Sylvie Fisher. This is the roster that they're losing to. And what was the other team that they dropped games to? FearX. Come on, man. It just doesn't make any sense. Who else did T1 lose to? Let's see, they dropped games to Bro. But yeah, they got 2-0 by Nongshim and they lost to Fox. Sure, FearX was doing really well. But this roster beat the world champions. This roster 2-0'd them. Look how many motherfucking players are on this roster. It just doesn't make sense. And I think you can look at T1. Their first split together, they went 18-0. Then they continued to go down and down and down. And they've been able to peak at Worlds because the Worlds format is very goddamn good for the way that T1 plays. But put this exact roster into spring of 2024, 2025, I don't think they would have gone 18-0. I think they would have gone 17-0, 17-1. I think they would have been looking at more of this scoreline, more of a middle-of-the-pack team. Does Zeus want to sign to a team that's going to go 11-7? No. He can sign to a team that's 14-4 or 17-1 and help them improve, be a better top laner than what they have. I think that's a way better option for him. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe for, more League of Legends news. Do you think that any of this stuff is true? Because you scroll through here, there's so many of these people with these conspiracies. If these rumors are true, I'd be mad. I've read that Zeus originally asked T1 for a 3-year contract. Like, everyone's just like reposting fake news and no one knows what's really going on, and it's just crazy. Let me know what you guys think, and subscribe for more. Every like is a like for Zeus' success in the future and Doran to do well on T1, which isn't going to happen. But, let's leave likes so that it happens.